Morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Finally, the sun came up, so I can come outside and do today's video here. It's not raining this morning, so that's kind of a bonus, but it's still very cloudy, and we're still supposed to have rain all day today and tomorrow from this hurricane that hit Louisiana the other day. So, prayers go out to everybody down there. Hope they're hanging in there and staying safe. Today, I wanted to talk about land. And reason being, I've had a bunch of questions that people have made in comments of some of the other videos recently about things they wanted to talk about. And the where do I go question seems to come up occasionally, not only on my channel, but on other people's channels. Oh, I can't find any land. I don't know where to go. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit on that today. A little bit of backstory for me, just so obviously you can understand I'm not a complete psycho here. Uh, Wife and I lived out in Las Vegas before moving here, and a few years ago, was it 2018, after those elections, when Nevada just became totally Californicated by electing basically a felon to be the governor, and Jackie Rose, that's Steve Sisolak, and then Jackie Rosen, who's a communist for all intents and purposes, to Congress. We knew it was time to get the hell out. So, fortunately for us, we had some things going for us. My daughter's in college, so didn't have to worry about, kids at home or anything of the sort. Also, the fact that with my job, I work from home, so as long as I've got a computer and a telephone, I'm good. I could be in an island in the middle of the Atlantic for all that matters, and as long as I can have internet and phone connection, I can do my job. So, yes, there are some advantages we have as opposed to people who have to go into a place of work. I mean, if you're working retail or you're in a hospital or anything of the sort like that, of course you need to have some sort of physical location you can go to work. So I put this out there again, like everything else I put out on my videos. It's not for everybody. I'm just giving an overview, and then you can kind of figure out what works best for your situation. So, like I said, we were in Vegas and decided, okay, it's time to get out of a liberal hellhole and find somewhere that's a little more conservative. So originally our thought was we were going to move to maybe Idaho or Montana. So I started doing a little bit of research there, and Idaho was having the same problems that Nevada was having, is that you had all the California liberals moving up there, and so that pretty much ruled Idaho out real quick. Montana, we took a look around, and believe it or not, Montana's pretty expensive to live in, so that kind of ruled that out. We thought about Texas. I'd lived in Texas back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was just too hot for my wife. She's like, no, I don't want to deal with 95 degrees and 100% humidity all summer. She goes, that's what, we've got the heat here, meaning in Vegas, and no humidity, obviously, but she didn't want to do that. So then we started looking at Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and started looking around for different places. Now, we had some specific criteria, again, because of our mindset of being preppers. We wanted to be near a lake. We wanted a place out in the country where we could get some acreage. And the one that really kind of threw a curve is we really had our heart set on a log cabinish type home. Okay, obviously, as you can see behind me, that's what we got. Okay. So yesterday I had a little time on my hands, and like I said, after the questions I received, I decided to do a little bit of looking for places people could go to, move out of the city to rural areas where they'd get a decent amount of land for a great price. Okay? And it seems to me there's a lot of migration going on right now from the big cities to maybe the suburbs or be out to the country a little bit. And so even you hear on the news sometimes, oh, real estate prices are going up, it's not affordable anymore. Okay, and again, affordable is on a case by case basis, depending on what somebody's got going on. So I started to do a little bit of research online real quick. Like I said, it was pouring rain, so I really couldn't do anything outside. So I figured, okay, I'll prep for today. And so as I was doing the search, I want everybody to understand, please, I didn't look for a job market. I didn't look for nearby stores or anything like that. Okay. The criteria I used was you had to find a decent plot of land, okay, 2+ acres. Had to have a nearby water source, okay, and I don't mean city water or a well. I mean, a stream, a lake, a river, something of the sort. So in a grid down scenario, you had somewhere to get water, okay, and it had to be in a gun friendly state, right? And obviously, I think that kind of goes without saying with what's going on in the world right now, and we've all seen on the news that, gee, gun sales have gone up 150% this year, and we can't find ammo, and you can still find firearms. That's not a problem, but a gun's useless if you don't have any ammo. Uh, so now, mind you, after all our searching, we eventually moved to Tennessee, and I got my land I bought the house, and it came with 2 acres of land, and then I bought another acre next door, so I've now got three, but bought the acre of land for $9,000. So not super cheap, but not super expensive either by any means. Okay, and again, like I said, I'm within walking distance of a lake. I'm 8 miles off the main road. There is one way into the town. Basically, we're on a peninsula here, so you're either coming in by that one road or coming in off the lake. And to get down to my property here, there's one way to get here, and I could literally block people from getting here for about 7 of those 8 miles because everything else is wooded. And if you're off the road, you aren't taking a vehicle 6 feet off the road because you couldn't get a motorcycle through this stuff. Okay. So those were the criteria I looked at. I wanted to do this because obviously the criteria is you want somewhere that you can be safe. You want land where you could raise a good sized garden or gardens. I've got 4 of them, about 2,100 square feet of gardens. Okay, maybe raise livestock like chickens or rabbits. You'd need more land to raise cattle or something, but and somewhere where you could build a house on a modest budget. Okay, basically a prepper's dream. Okay, now of course, whether these locations fit your lifestyle, and I say, again, think homeschooling kids if you've got younger kids, or are you okay with driving an hour, 45 minutes or whatever to the nearest grocery store, the nearest Walmart or whatever? That's up to you. I'm just putting this out there so everybody understands that, this is possible, okay? And trust me when I say too, okay, moving out to the country doesn't mean hillbillies, all right? I grew up in Chicago and Detroit, born in Chicago, went to high school in Detroit. Army was after that, okay? So none of these places include the Army. After I got out, I lived in Dallas, Cincinnati, back to Chicago, Indianapolis, out to Boston, Salt Lake City, Las Vegas, and now here. And obviously, none of those cities are country areas, so I'm very used to the urban suburban lifestyle. Okay, moving out here was a little different. Okay, but here I am out in the sticks of Tennessee. Obviously, as you can tell, I don't have a southern accent. Okay, and yet I've been completely accepted by everybody in town. Okay, made some good friends here, and so don't think, oh gee, I'm going to go out and it's a bunch of hillbillies and hicks. It's not the truth. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to make real clear in this, I'm not a realtor, okay? I have nothing to do with any of the listings I want to talk to everybody about. It's just for some research online. I've got no connections with these people. I don't know. I went to one website, did some research, and that was it. So that gives you just a little bit of an overview. And I'll post links to these properties, but the website I went and looked at was landandfarm.com. Makes sense to me. Quick Google search, and that's where it is. I know I looked at it when we found our house, but I don't think that was the website I found our place on. Okay. First one I found was in McGrady, North Carolina. Now, again, I don't know where any of these towns are, or what they're close to, anything like that. Okay, but this is just stuff I found. 4.7 acres with a stream running through the yard for 19.9. Okay, so you're looking at about $4,000 an acre there. I'd say that's pretty inexpensive. Next one I put 2 3/4 acres in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri for 47.50. All right, now that's like $1,200 an acre. And if you've done any research on prepping, which obviously you wouldn't be here if you hadn't, the Ozarks seems to be a very, very popular place for preppers. Okay, so built into this right there, you're going to have community. And I'm looking at $1,250 an acre, roughly. That's cheap. Okay. Next one I found, almost 5 acres, 4.93 in Blanca, Colorado for $7,900. Again, you're talking about $1,300 an acre. I have no idea where Blanca, Colorado is. I'm assuming it's not the suburbs of Denver. But again, you had almost 5 acres, and there's a water source on there. I'll post the links to this in the comments section, or in the description of the job, if I can figure out how to do that, because obviously posting it through a phone and posting computer websites is different because they're different URLs, but I'll try. Okay. Next one I found was 2.2 acres in Tignall, Georgia for $8,000. Okay, so there you're talking, what, $3,800 an acre. And this is what I found in looking for a half an hour. Okay, last one I found was in Jasper, Arkansas, 4.96 acres for $14,900. Okay, there's $3,000 an acre. If you want to realize how big that is, okay, mind you, an acre is 100 by 400 feet. Okay, my house in Vegas, I was on 1/9 of 1 acre. I now have 3 acres. Do the math. I could put 27 houses on my property here, and I get 3 acres. Okay, so if you're talking 5 acres, you're talking 500 feet wide by 400 feet long. That's a huge amount of property, and provided it's not completely wooded or something, even as you can clear it. But again, that gives you ample space to garden, to, like I said, raise chickens, goats, whatever you want to be, maybe rabbits, and you could be somewhat self-sustainable at that point. All right, so case and just take that all with a grain of salt. I mean, like I said, I'll post the links to all these, but this is just one website I looked at for about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to find this stuff. It's very possible to find inexpensive land. Now, when I was looking at it, Tennessee, Arkansas, and West Virginia consistently rank as the cheapest places to buy residential land. Tennessee offers a diverse geography, mountains, lakes, acres of flat ground, of course, Graceland, Nashville, et cetera, if you want any sort of travel. Of course, I'm a little partial to Tennessee because that's where I moved to. But yeah, I looked all over the place to see what I can find. I avoided some of the land that I found in Alaska or upstate New York. There's a ton of it out in New Mexico, Arizona. Nothing wrong with any of those places. They just didn't fit the criteria that I was looking for. Arizona, you're not going to find, a stream or a lake for the most part. I mean, Lake Havasu or whatever, you've got some of that, but that's going to be $1 million properties that are near that. New York, obviously not a gun-friendly state. So going by the criteria I used, it seems to be that the Southeast and maybe a little bit in the Mountain West would probably be the best places to look. Are you comfortable moving there? Maybe not. Okay, if you live in Chicago or New York or something, maybe moving down south isn't in the cards. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. Go out and look, because you can find inexpensive land that you can, I'll use the term homestead on, but that's probably about the closest way to describe it. It's out there. Okay, don't let anybody scare you and say, oh gee, you're stuck here, you can't do it. And again, like I said, personal circumstances, whether you got kids or whatever. Do you want to just buy a plot of land? Well, okay, you can go buy a mobile home and, put that on the land. I mean, a mobile home, you get a decent, inexpensive mobile home for probably $25,000. And if you spent, let's say you bought the 5 acres in Jasper, Arkansas for 15 grand, you've got 40,000 bucks into it. You're on your property. If you want to build a house, okay, at least you have somewhere to live right now, i.e., the mobile home. Okay, build a house. If it takes you a year to build a house or whatever, I mean, unless you're doing it yourself, then it's probably going to take you longer. But if it takes you a year to have a contractor build your house, you still have somewhere to go, and you're on your own land. Okay. Oh, the other thing I used in criteria is that the land could not be in any sort of subdivision or anything like that where you had HOAs. Okay, so no rules on you there. All right. The way I look at it is this: you could move on 40 grand. In my example there, you'd probably do it on less. Okay, if you bought some of the cheaper properties. Uh, but if you got a house in Chicago, in New York, if you get an apartment in New York, even though I've seen the prices in apartments have gone down by 30%. I know, what $1 million apartments are, or I'm sorry, 2 bedroom apartments are, if you own them in New York, are $1 million. Okay. Even if it's come down to $600,000. All right. Let's say you desperate and you sell it for $500,000. Okay. How much do you still have after spending 40 grand to get on a few acres and, at least, like I said, have a mobile home or something like that? I mean, you can put an RV on there if you want to, if you really want to live in that. It's possible, okay? If you're in up to your eyeballs in debt on your mortgage right now, obviously probably not, especially if you're upside down. But it seems like the housing market's done halfway decent in most of the places over the last 8 or 10 years, so hopefully you can get out with some sort of profit. I know we turned about a $50,000 profit on our house in Vegas, and when we wound up moving out here, the house we bought here and all the land was half the cost of the house we bought in Vegas. Okay, I'll take it. So just wanted to put it out here. This isn't oh gee, somebody else said something wrong. This was just kind of hey, I had some time. I'm going to help everybody out, take a look at that. It's possible. Go look. Okay, there's plenty of websites out there. Like I said, the one I looked at was landandfarm.com. There's more. But go out, check it out, see what's out there. Hope this helps somebody. Ball out.